I practice in a very busy dialysis access interventional center. We serve well over 2,000 end-stage renal disease patients. And I've had the opportunity to use the Chameleon balloon in easily over 100 cases. I'm very impressed with this new technology and happy to share my experience with you. It's been my experience that the Chameleon is an excellent angioplasty balloon for thrombectomy cases, as well as for those cases where a retrograde approach involving angioplasty of an arterial or juxtaanastomotic lesion is involved. And lastly, disruption of fibrin sheath, whereby dysfunctional dialysis catheters have a fibrin sheath that needs to be treated. So the ability to deliver conscious sedation drugs through this balloon catheter is very useful. Secondly, the ability to maintain wire access at all times during a thrombectomy is important. And thirdly, the ability to get imaging of the arterial inflow during thrombectomy cases is important. With the Chameleon balloon, one already has the ability to image through the angioplasty balloon. And so, again, over the wire, the angioplasty balloon, the Chameleon catheter is placed in the proximal artery. Contrast is injected through the injection port, and imaging of the entire artery can then be performed. This documents the normalcy or inadequacy of the inflow system. So if there are arterial stenoses that need to be treated, you already have your angioplasty balloon right there to treat it. You're imaging also the downstream arteries to rule out any arterial emboli that may have occurred and may not yet be symptomatic, but I think the importance and completeness of that imaging is important. And then lastly, one can look at the arterial anastomosis and that juxtaanastomotic area to make sure there's no stenoses there, any residual clot that need to be fully swept. I find this to be a great advantage. To do a pullback through a traditional imaging catheter, one is going to have to pull the wire. And then, of course, you may find the lesion, but now you've lost wire, or you're going to have to spend the time to put that wire back in across perhaps a difficult lesion. So maintaining wire access is very important. Once I've gotten wire across lesions, I like to maintain that and then do my imaging. And the Chameleon balloon allows me to do that. On the other side, let's say there is a cephalic arch lesion. And if one injects contrast through the sheath, the contrast may stop. It may not even get to the cephalic arch lesion. In this situation, if you have a wire across the cephalic arch, one can go up to that arch, park the Chameleon just proximal to that, blow up the balloon, inject a little contrast through the injection port, and then image beautifully the cephalic arch where the lesion is. If one may need to get a larger balloon, to decide on what kind of therapy needs to be done. But you've basically at that point defined the specific lesion that you're trying to correct to prevent further problems with flow and even another thrombectomy. The ability to image with this Chameleon balloon at points of lesions when you don't have good flow is very important. The ability to maintain wire access is critical because you don't want to lose your wire across a difficult lesion.